Okay. Wieder wie am Anfang, ja?
I'd never really considered the idea of God, but I actually prayed that Heather was okay. We'd fallen pretty far out of the van, and I wasn't sure I'd really braced her fall.
Hi.
Heather greeted me with a calm smile. I thought you'd find me easier than I'd find you, so I thought I'd stay put. I made
Good
a
idea.
small shelter as quick as I could. It was soon pitch black and starting to rain, so Heather had suggested we rest. In the morning, when there would be better light, we could try to find our way home.
Ja.
I don't think Dad ever imagined this would happen, said Heather with a sad look in her eye. I mean, he would always talk about how he'd dreamt of a robot when he was a young boy. He and Mum was so happy when you finally turned up. I honestly think he thought robots like you could help the world, not kill millions of people.
Ja.
Death is really sad, I said. It was an obvious thing to say, but Heather nodded. When my best friend died, she continued, I asked Mum why people had to die. She said it was to make room for new babies to be born. I don't know why, but this made me feel both happy and sad at the same time.
Ja. Und der nächste Tag bricht an.
Mr. Preston practically fell through a bush as he said, There you are. We've been looking for you all night. He explained that they had lost the soldiers, but the van had broken down. Luckily though, it was actually only a short walk away.
Und er ist immer noch gefangen.
I must
Hi.
have looked sad when we got back, as the old lady sat down beside me. What's the matter? She asked. I told her that Heather had explained the war to me. The old lady sighed, It's not your fault, before saying how the original idea was for the robots to be raised like children, learning and developing their own consciousness. But, when the old man died and I was shut down, my consciousness was taken, hacked, and copied to every other robot, to bypass the growing up stage. Heather explained that every robot had a tiny bit of my memories, of the old man, the house, of everything. So when the war broke out, hundreds of unstable robots kept arriving at their house. I think it was like some kind of pilgrimage for them, said the old lady. That's why we created a scrambling signal. It only works within a few hundred miles, but turns any unlicensed or illegal robots close enough into mindless zombies. That's another reason we were surprised to see you. Heather explained how most of the planet had been taken over by robots. She said they were looking for more people, but it wasn't looking good. They had received a radio signal from Japan. There was a few thousand people who survived there. Lord knows how, said the old lady. Their robots outnumbered people 50-1 by the time the war broke out. Heather said how she had been writing a virus that would shut any robot down. I'm not really a great coder, she said. Mom was trying to work out a way to boost the scrambling signal, but now you're here I've got an idea. The old lady smiled and slowly nodded. We should be able to clone your personality and broadcast your consciousness to all the other robots.
Das ist besser als das, was ich vorhatte.
Heather smiled. We'll make them all nice.
Ja. Ich dachte, jetzt muss er
Robot,
den Virus
interrupted
verteilen.
Mr. Sultan. We're nearly done, but we're all starving. See if you can catch us one of them rabbits.
Jetzt muss ich ihn Rasen jagen, ja?
So, it must have been several years since the old man had died.
Ja.
It was strange. Heather was now as tall as me, if not taller. But at least everyone was back together. I was so happy for the first time in ages. I just knew everything was going to be alright.
Sag das nicht, da passiert jetzt irgendwas.
After all we needed to do was save the world, or at least help put it back together.
Ja, und ich hab den Hasen gefangen.
I suddenly realized what Mr. Sultan meant by we're all starving. When I got back, I told everyone that I couldn't catch anything. I don't think anyone was too disappointed.
Okay, ja. Familie ist die wichtigste Sache in der Welt. Prinzessin Diana. Zurück nach Hause. Ja. Okay, Zelt aufbauen im Haus. Nice Idee. Rosa ist natürlich für sie. Aber jetzt darf ich doch bestimmt noch irgendwas machen, oder? Ich glaube nicht, dass sie jetzt einfach nur das alles alleine macht und der Typ, der sich rächen will, der kommt doch bestimmt noch einmal wieder. Ja, aber eine interessante Geschichte, die sich da im Hintergrund abspielt. Die Roboter haben sich gegen die Menschen verbündet, weil die Menschen sie zu Kriegseinsätzen geschickt haben, was ja auch größtenteils verständlich ist. Ich werde auch nicht weiter amüsiert bei. Aber jetzt muss ich erstmal rumfliegen. Voll gut in solchen Spielen. Okay, ich dachte irgendwie, ich würde da kaputt gehen, wenn ich dagegen knalle. Okay, es ist nur eine Ziellinie, keine Sterne, die ich einsammeln kann. Naja.
In the morning, Sim and Alice brought the blind man to the house.
Hey, du bist auch
Despite
hier.
his lack of sight, he was quite the computer expert. He talked the others through the process of setting up a video phone.
Nighthawk.
He said it should serve our purpose, but the low bit rate might make everyone's faces look a bit blocky.
Ja. Lol.
The device soon crackled into life. Hello, Nighthawk. This is Dr. Hero of Japan. Are you receiving me? Over.
Yep.
Hello, said the old lady. This is Nighthawk. It's good to speak to you again.
Freut mich von dir zu hören, ja.
Dr. Hero explained that something had gone wrong and the enemy robots had nearly breached their defenses. We have everything we need to broadcast our nice virus and make the robots far more passive. It might take a few months. Can you hold out until then? Dr. Hero sighed. Well, we'll have to.
Ja. Schön wäre natürlich, wenn die jetzt reingerannt wären.
I spent the rest of that day helping Sim and the blind man set up a computer with what they called the internet.
Wie heißt du? Boing, boing. Yay!
The planet might have been ravaged by war, but this allowed people to communicate with each other. The old lady was concerned about viruses and other technical-sounding things, explaining that they might infect me. But Mr. Silton talked right over her, as he convinced everyone it was a great idea.
Ja.
It was amazing. When Heather and I looked at it, there was nothing but video games and awesome cartoons. When Mr. Preston looked, it was all strange conspiracies and ghosts. Mr. Logan saw guns. Alice saw that her church was having a summer fete. For Mr. Deck it was operas and subtitled films. But when Mr. Silton looked at it, I was shocked to find the entire thing was full of naked ladies.
Das Übliche halt, ne?
Later that evening, Mr. Silton wheeled an old piano into the room. Heather smiled as she explained that her parents had bought it for her when she had seen it in an old junk shop.
Junk shop.
As a thank you, she had written a piece of music for her parents, which one day she tried to play for them.
Okay, und dann kam der Roboter. Deswegen mochte sie ihn auch noch für mich. Ja. Habe ich mir gedacht, ja. So schließt sich der Kreis. Spiel.
For some reason, she then gave me a huge hug and suggested I might like to play the piano with her.
Nein. Noch mehr testen?
As happy as the old lady was with us playing the piano, we soon got back to business. After scanning the house, she explained that, other than the escaped nanobots, there were 4 test robots that I would have to track down. They had each taken important satellite parts that we would need to broadcast the nice virus, and we had to get these parts back to the hallway with the rest of our equipment. If you're going to explore the house, said Mr. Silton, you should know some of the doors have been boarded up. Here, take my crowbar.
Yay,
Oi,
crowbar.
that's mine, laughed Mr. Preston. You said you didn't take it. You really are a proper c***. Mr. Preston explained that they had used it in what he called their old business. I soon realized this meant all sorts of robbery, but he said that they'd given that all up after falling out with their old gang of associates.
Okay, gut, ja.
Although Mr. Preston's story was very interesting, Sim and the blind man had something even more interesting for me, something they called an auto map.
Ah. Automap. Ist klar. Ja, die ganze glückliche Familie. Wundert euch nicht, dass ich an der Decke laufen kann. Das ist ganz normal für mich. Ach, was soll's. Was habt ihr so im Badezimmer gemacht? Oh Gott, bitte nicht nur. Nee. Komm. Ist vielleicht interessant, das zu sehen, aber... Komm. Hauptflur. Hab ich jetzt eine Karte oder was? Okay. Erdgeschoss der Ausgalerie, okay.
The block was very shiny. It looked like it might be able to reflect the laser beams.
Und wieder Laserstrahl, okay. Und hier ist ein... Dings, ja, okay. Hier ist wieder so ein brennendes Gedöns. Okay, ich habe vermutet, ich könnte an der Seite da längs gehen. Okay. Draußen. Hier ist keine Karte. Hier ist die Karte. Bin ich denn? Da unten bin ich denn. Okay. Das Haus ist größer geworden. Wenn ich hier rausgehe, komme ich in den Raum rein. Ah nee, halt, da kann ich ja nicht längs laufen. Ja, gut. Bin ich hier auf der Karte? Da oben. Okay. Okay. Und der müsste dann etwas so winkeln. Jetzt komme ich da aber nicht mehr lang. Ich kann ihn tragen. Ich habe einen Verdacht, wo der hin soll. Ups. Ich kann da nicht an der Wand laufen. Danke, das wollte ich nicht. Yep. Na komm. Yep, habe ich mir gedacht. Gut. Ja, nicht gut. Hm. Sekunde. Ja. Wenn man sich zu sehr auf was konzentriert und dann die andere Möglichkeit nicht sieht. Passiert sowas, ja. Okay, was ist... Okay, doch nicht. Okay. Er erwischt mich nicht. Ah.
After a while, I thought maybe it was a good idea to get the shiny block.
Ja, aber irgendwie muss ich das wirklich gehen. Oder so. Ich dachte jetzt, ich könnte damit dann durch die Tür, egal. Na guck. Okay. Vielleicht wäre es eine gute Idee, wenn ich den Strahl so hinlenke, dass er mich nicht trifft. Passt. Oder ich stelle mich einfach mit runter. Hilft bestimmt auch. Was ist das hier? Okay. Machen wir erstmal den Müll weg. Richtung und hüpf. Ja. Zentrale unter der Treppe. So, ich bin wieder da. Ich habe gestern aufgehört, weil ich zu müde war. Und jetzt gehe ich mal hier weiter gucken. Kenne ich die Figuren im Hintergrund nicht? Sonic. Der komische Frosch. Und was ist hier? Nö. Klose. Hose, sagte ich. Nicht. Kann ich hier eigentlich irgendwo hin? Wahrscheinlich, denn ich habe da hier einen. Da habe ich einen. Eine Karte. Hier komme ich nur nach links. Oh, das waren Gegner. Fliegende Bücher sind Gegner, okay. Hier brenne ich. Echt jetzt? Du ziehst nicht wirklich die Dinger von unten hoch. Von oben runter. Oh, guck mal. Den ziehe ich. Okay, die sind also aggressiv. Und die Bücher auch. Aggressive-Bücher habe ich jetzt noch nicht im echten Leben gesehen, aber andererseits habe ich die Schuhe auch noch nicht im echten Leben gesehen, sonst hätte ich sie nicht. Das wird noch lange dauern, bis ich hier durch bin. Zumal ich auch die Bücher wieder vergessen habe. Und wieder zurück. Wer auch immer das Level designt hat, ist doch irre. Die ganzen Büchern ausweichen, das ist doch nicht zum Spaß haben. Kommen da noch mehr? Hock, hock, hock. Okay, auf jeden Fall ist die Bücherei bald geschlossen.